Hey, you've made it to the Spaceboy Universe YouTube channel. Well, while you're here, why don't you click that subscribe button and then click the bell to get notified when new content is available. It's that simple. So it's your duty as a space cadet to do so.
32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Spaceboy, and across from me is the lovely Surlana, and this is what we like to call Spaceboy Universe. It is May the 30th. Man, can you believe how long it's been since we've been incarcerated in our own homes? That's right, and I guess we've given up show numbers for now until we get more legitimate. As always, follow us on Twitter. That's at the SBU Universe. Follow Surlana at Surlana. Follow me at Spaceboy Music while Twitter still exists. Make sure to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SB Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. In addition to Twitter, you can find us all over social media. Just search for Spaceboy Universe. Hey, cadets, you want to check out that YouTube channel. We do more than the archive of shows there. We do the live show there. There is video content from SB Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, so much more. So hit that subscribe button and click that bell to be notified when new content is available. And on that magical note, let me bring in my lovely co-host, the lovely Surlana.
Did we just leave Instagram?
What do you mean, Instagram?
Thought we had the universe was on Instagram at one point.
It is, but I could go blah blah blah. But I guess I should have said, in addition to Twitter, you can find us all over social media.
Just pick a social media and look for us. See if we're
Spaceboy
there.
Universe.
We might be there and we don't know it.
For some strange reason, the chat is doing some kind of says, "Please try again." Have you been able to do something in chat?
Yeah, I typed
I did test.
K28. Make sure it says live chat.
It says live chat at the top.
Let me see. Are you alive, K28?
I'm surprised I don't see the his K28 post.
He wants to know if we watched the SpaceX launch.
Did we ever? Today is a great day in the history of space.
You watched it. I didn't see it.
I didn't get to see all of it, but the point is that Doug and Bob McKenzie made it to space, and we're proud for them for the SpaceX.
You don't know that reference. You're under a certain age.
Yeah. What I really find is their spacesuits were pretty dang cool.
Yeah, they're very minimal looking.
I don't like the fact I can't see who's chatting.
Nobody's talking.
Okay, good.
Nobody's talking. It's just K28 that's there, and no one's talking.
Let's see if I can.
He's here. He says he's here.
Oh, there we go. I popped out the chat, and let's see if I can restore the chat on my side. No, it won't.
So I guess it's just the three of us tonight.
Here you go again. Anyway.
Doesn't matter. We're going to talk regardless. But yeah, so this means space travel in America has become privatized?
Yes.
Yes. So it's like you could pick your own taxi, Uber to the stars?
Pretty much.
Although NASA is like the air traffic controller for space, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to get clearance for that, and then you got to make sure you're not going to hit somebody else's stuff, right?
My head is always in the clouds. 28 and
K28. I will be sending him there soon. Don't you worry about that. Gonna do a reverse Ralph Cramden.
Really old reference.
Yeah. Guess how old I am.
You're not that old.
Well, there were reruns of that show when I was young. They were
True,
still
true.
rerunning it on Nick at Night, you know.
I remember when I was a kid watching
I never watched
old
it.
black and whites of like Ma and Pa Kettle and Dagwood and, you know, to name a few.
I know what you're talking about. I never watched them. I was busy watching. Well, it was on when it was just on. Like
There
I
was-
Dream of Jeannie
There
and
was
things
nothing,
like that.
well, there was
Bewitched.
nothing really else to watch at that
It's not
time.
like we had choices back then.
No, it's not like
for a
we
long time.
have on-demand programming, which is so wonderful.
Yes.
Should
But,
we jump to
Do you
the
want to dive right
the
in?
elephant in the room?
And well, I had some nonsense you could talk about till we like like the old format we would do 10-15 minutes of bleh
Is
before
that
we
what-
get into
Is
the
that what you're saying?
meat and potatoes.
So cat hairballs.
Yeah, that happened today. I'm not kidding. Our cat hawked up a hairy loogie that I had to clean up. And then later we were attacked by a 6-legged monster. And that happened. So, yeah. The only other thing I was going to talk about was SpaceX, which was, you know, really cool. And you kept saying, look at their outfits. Look at their outfits. They look like, you know, biker stuff. You know, I was thinking, if they're not going to leave their spaceship, because it knows which way to go, they don't really need all that bulky environmental stuff. They're just going to sit there, right? But it's more like proof of concept.
But
flight.
but the suits, I believe, are still pressurized.
Yeah.
And I mean they're self-contained.
G-forces
And
and-
I it was kind of like when I was it's a onesie basically. And as I was describing the gloves don't completely slip off. They kind of, you can push them over your hands, and then when you're ready, you can just pull them on, and then I guess zip them into place, and
Like how they do with toddlers so they don't lose their mittens.
so they don't scratch your face when they're a kid. Yeah.
Well, no, they had a button to their sleeves. They had a special, you know, things like that. The only other thing that was a momentous thing, it was our first non-NASA space flight, basically, right?
Kind of a cool operation. I mean,
I'm
'cause-
saying it wasn't 100% done by NASA.
yes, it wasn't 100% done.
Was it still run from down here, though, in Mission Control?
I believe in Florida.
So the Mission Control went to Florida
Yes.
instead. Okay.
I think in most part, Houston.
We're just irrelevant now.
We Houston monitors space traffic like that.
We're watching.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind having one of those spacesuits.
A replica?
A replica.
A non-pressurized replica.
Well,
Well, you could actually use it with that helmet to go shopping.
the SpaceX one.
Yeah. You need a replica of it, and you could go shopping.
The reason being is that looks a whole lot lighter than the outfit that I have.
Yours is a replica of an environmental suit that they get out into space in.
It wasn't meant for, I guess, gravity of Earth.
No. You wouldn't feel any of that. Not a lot of cosplaying going on in space, I imagine. Anyway, the only other thing, I looked up a whole bunch of other stuff, and I couldn't find anything I care about, other than two other things. Because a lot has changed in the last 3 months, I think a lot of things are going to stay changed, or they're going to change in a way that is so unlike the way it was before. Like certain events, like sporting events, I think one day people will return to the stadiums and arenas and coliseums, maybe. But for now, if they're still going to have like baseball or whatever, Yamaha, the one that brings you keyboards and dirt bikes and, you know, good old Yamaha, they have an app you can download on your phone. And it's basically like a little soundboard. But certain stadiums will hook up to it, and they will have speakers all around the arena or wherever they're at. And as a fan, you can push a button and cheer, clap, boo, whatever they do. So, and they'll be integrated at the event location itself, and it does a job of emulating crowd noise. They're testing it in Shizuoka Stadium. I'm guessing that's how that's pronounced.
I was going to say, that's pretty good talk there.
Shizuoka. There were amplified loudspeakers there, placed at each seating section. Fans cheered. They were localized to the section where they would actually sit. So I guess you get on this app and you get assigned a section in the actual stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So your noise only comes from your section. It's not being replicated all the way around the stadium. That's kind of smart. It diffuses the noise. It's more authentic sounding. A preset selection of cheers and boos, which can be customized by the venue itself, what they want to hear from that app. It could be applicable to whatever team is playing. Repeated tap options for the crowd to engage in rhythmic clapping or chanting. Reproduce imperfect timing of real life chants and stomps. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. If, we're never going to be able to go back, I didn't go to sporting events, so I don't really have a stake in that. But, let's see, the only other thing I've got here is, far as, like, entertainment and whatnot, the latest brouhaha is something called the Schneider Cut. And I'm going to let you talk about that because I don't really know or care.
Well, we know that AT&T bought Warner.
Did they?
Well,
I wasn't aware of that.
So which part of that package is HBO, and so HBO is going to this new format of HBO Max, which will have different things. It's kind of like a Disney Plus, but for them.
Okay.
And so what that means is like the DC stuff would be aired on that, and one of those things. We knew that there was a cut of Superman. I mean, not Superman, but Justice League. Now, the thing is that Justice League... I'm sorry, I got distracted by a pop-up and then another pop-up. So Justice League was originally being directed and created by Schneider, but unfortunately he had to take an absence because something happened that... I guess it was a family emergency. I can't remember. I wished I had brushed back up on this before we started this program today. But anyway, long story short.
What is the Snyder Cut?
The Snyder Cut is basically his version of Justice League.
Zack Snyder, the director.
Yeah. Apparently Justice League got a bad rap.
Deservedly so.
And because Josh Whedon... I guess I said that right?
Mm-hmm.
I always get concerned that I'm doing my best Gene Hackman again. So basically, what we have is apparently Schneider had done a cut of Justice League and got pretty far in it, but then Josh came in and did a bunch of reshoots and did his own version of it, and so that's why fans have always been like, well, let's see the Snyder Cut,
Snyder's more, based on what I've seen, I can't remember the name of that thing we saw, more comic book mindset in the way he views, I guess, scenes and action. Mm-hmm. From what I can remember, what is that movie where she was living out her fantasies, but she was trapped in a insane asylum? Sucker Punch. He did that, didn't he? He directed Sucker Punch, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
That's how I view all of his work, like that. But I thought Justice League was blah to the extreme. The only thing that saved it was Wonder Woman. And then I didn't think much about Aquaman until he got his own movie. And I was like, okay, more shirtless Jason Momoa, I'm on board.
They probably would. I'm trying to remember if Aquaman didn't come. It came after Justice League.
Way after. Like
and it probably would have been good if it had come before Justice League.
Yeah, that would have probably given us a reason to invest in. Because mean old zombie Superman, I was not invested in him coming back from the dead, I didn't care for that. But, yeah, so it was like they had their own little Thanos in a way, So I didn't know. And then now you said there was another one there's another director threatening a 3-hour cut of something no one wanted to see. So I'm just like.
Oh, that was the Harley Quinn. What's that movie? We saw the movie in the theaters.
Oh, anyway, yeah. But HBO Max, I've heard there's a lot of confusion. They're saying it's going to have a massive library, but they're calling things like Police Academy classic movies.
Oh, in a way,
so with a grain of salt,
That is a classic.
They're still running 3 services simultaneously right now, but like you said, I think they're going to merge them.
They're going to merge them all into HBO.
$15 a month, maybe?
Yeah, but if you're already paying almost that much for HBO, it's worth it.
Anyone who happily paid for 15 months for HBO Now as a standalone service, Max kind of replaces HBO Now. Same pay, but you get more. I don't know. I wonder if they would have the library they had when they first debuted HBO as a cable network. That's some old stuff right there. So, yeah, I don't care. If we were talking about Kindle Unlimited, then I would start caring. But just that type of thing. So I was going to let you talk about that before we get into the...
What, Kindle Unlimited? There's not much I could say on that subject.
Oh, no. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, do we need to keep going or take a break or...
Well, it's only 6:17, babe.
Okay. Anyway, so what we're doing here is sort of like our kind of modified format where I don't do the week-long research paper research with like 10 pages of type notes for one topic. We're more of like a couple of links, a paragraph of a thought here, just so I don't forget, and we're kind of like from the hip, kind of shooting off,
And the show is modified to, bring a show back to you, although maybe a little bit more limited to what we were doing before.
I'd love to call it Space Universe Live from Lockdown, but I don't know if that would fly with YouTube's AI bots. They're constantly looking for, dissent and, wrong words to say. So, But tonight, I want to talk about one thing, and it covers everything that's going on. But I want to talk about fear. Good old-fashioned fear. And not so much the concept, but how fear is a great motivator. And I personally feel that things that have happened since like February in this country, and that are happening today, May 30th, are being driven by fear of the unknown. We had an illness that appeared suddenly. We weren't ready. We've got the fear of pain and suffering and death. Fear that you're never going to get out of this house. You'll never see the sun again, or who knows what. And I think all of this has heightened people's emotions and fear. And it's driven some people bat crap crazy. And they cannot deal with it other than to lash out and just be the most insane version of themselves they can be. And it's possible some of these people don't even realize that they're being driven by this and they're desperate and fearful. Maybe they don't realize it. Maybe they're just scared for no reason. I feel like 3 months of isolation, social distancing, interruptions with food and supplies, some shortages, have escalated these emotions and fears, and they've spilled out over into other aspects of life. And I'm going to try to unify all this stuff that's going on. I mean, everything from social media to throwing rocks at a building, all of it. I'm going to try. So maybe there's fear of being repressed, there's fear of being overlooked, fear of being lied to by authoritative figures, fear of becoming irrelevant, fear of being forgotten. And I guess, and it just feels like it's escalating. And of course, I'm talking about two major events that have happened within the last day or two. One in the state of Minnesota and one in the state of Georgia. Now, I've done a little bit of reading today. The one in Atlanta is said to have been fueled by the event in Minneapolis. When I heard about the one in Atlanta at the news media headquarters, I'm deliberately dancing around some keywords on purpose, in case you're wondering why I'm being so vague, because of YouTube's brilliant AI. So when I heard about the event in Atlanta, I thought, this is it. People have finally had enough of mainstream media lying to them, fear-mongering with all their sensationalism, and they're taken to the streets. But they, whoever they are saying it's tied to what happened in Minneapolis. Why they're going after this specific news outlet, I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but sometimes in these situations, logic and reasoning aren't there. Now, I also heard that a reporter from another national news media outlet, this outlet has the same name as a wild animal, and it also has the same name as part of a browser's name. Okay? Here again, dancing around the keywords. Something I want you to keep in mind, people, is remember this. There is a marked difference between a protest and a riot. A protest is somewhat organized, mostly peaceful. Sure, it could be loud. People usually stick around, have their say, and then they go home. A riot is violent. Property is damaged, destroyed, or stolen. Things are thrown, things are fired, things are detonated. People are hurt or killed. That is the difference. Now, a protest can become a riot, but they are normally two different things. What is going on are riots. Please make sure you know the difference before you get caught in one or plan to participate. Do you have something you want to add?
No, I'm
you
just...
look like, you're doing that thing with your
that
chin.
Fu Manchu thing that I do where I'm a wise and scrupulous man. Anyway, the point is that I was going to bring up is that here we have a police officer that overused force, and even though the suspect was saying he can't breathe, the officer continued to put his knee right on his neck. And my concern is he is the one that started all this as a catalyst of what we're...
You're saying that particular officer?
Yeah, that particular officer is the catalyst of why we're having these riots. And I want to point out that at some point, I'm sure in the narrative of the mainstream media, they're going to say Trump is one responsible for all this. And we should not confuse the two. Trump has nothing to do with this.
That's another thing I wonder about. I've been watching and listening to a lot of other YouTube channels, looking at other people's take on this from across both sides. So, as you were saying, you pointed out, I can't remember the gentleman's name, never waste an opportunity, never waste a crisis.
Solinsky.
It doesn't matter what the crisis is. If it's race riots, if it's a beer bug pandemic, there's always an opportunity to put your agenda out there and get it going. And some of these people may be legitimately upset about what happened as far as race and other, but I think a lot of it is being pushed. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if this is why they were upset at the news headquarters in Atlanta, because they say, oh, these are just protests. They're throwing rocks and flaming things at their building. Oh, it's just a protest. There's a lot of anger that they're propagating the fear. Mm-hmm. And that's what's made a lot of people mad, is that here's a news agency that has
pushed the fear level to a point where it shouldn't be.
Well, we experienced this right here in Houston during Harvey, when the major news media outlets came down here and tried to start something with race while we were trying to help people from drowning, and we said, get out of here. Said either pick something up and start helping out or get out. We ran them out of Houston. We were tired of their crap already. So I have been kind of grateful that I'm not physically at work if this is going to escalate and escalate and escalate.
We've been blessed here in Houston in the fact that we haven't seen the riots that have taken place like in Atlanta and Minnesota.
Doesn't mean it can't happen, but keep in mind, people, Texans are armed, and we have the right. So I was told they're having to form a volunteer militia or of citizens or whoever to surround the Alamo in San Antonio because rioters were going bat crap crazy and they were trying to vandalize and destroy it. And so Texans were down there trying to preserve it, keep it safe. So I don't know what gets into people. If you're upset about oppression, how is destroying property going to resolve the issue? Either you want the issue resolved or you just want to go insane and get away with it. I just don't get it. So I don't know if it's fear of one thing or another that's escalating, or it's just, they talk about cancel culture. They talk about the culture of being outrage culture. When I really believe 90% of these people are not outraged. They just want attention, or they want fame, or they want to get something out of it. I just don't know. Let's see. Let me ask a question here in chat. I can't type I can't. In chat, can you just say roughly where you are? You don't have to get specific if you don't want to. I'm just curious where you saw that. So, I don't get it. But here's some other things I've discovered going on through this time of lockdown and distancing. Some things are changing that are minor, that we'll live through, like movie theaters may be a thing of the past, but it is not going to disrupt social order, right? However, if you work there or you own that business, that's going to be a problem. Other things I found is it seems like certain corporations like video hosting platforms and social media hosting platforms, seem like maybe they're afraid of opposing ideas. So they invest in censorship. And I wonder what the motive... I mean, I know the motivation behind it. It's Orange Man bad. I get it. They want him gone, and they will do anything that makes him look bad. And I'm hoping most people see through that. There's nothing any president can do other than putting out a federal edict to start something like what went on. The president did not fly to that country and go into a lab and leak out a bug or go into a wet market and put a bug into their food chain. He didn't do it. Nobody. They did that themselves. And people make the decision to leave their house and do things on their own. The only one who can make you do something is yourself. Unless there is a loaded weapon to your head or something.
And on that magical note, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
You know, Space Cadets, I'm the voice of hope for you. So before I turn you back to Surlana, I just want you to know that we mustn't give up hope. Without hope, what's the point in living? So on that magical note,
I got very close to like a Star Trek speech, you know.
Well, it actually reminds me of the Shawshank Redemption.
I never saw it.
There's a scene where they have up at the in one of the rooms, somebody had scrawled in, a phrase that either get busy living or get busy dying.
Oh
And
yeah, oh yeah. I thought that was from Shaft.
You are so funny.
Well, what do I know? I didn't see either. But yeah, just real quick, just in case you're worried that was a spam bot in chat. If you're feeling depressed or anxious about what's going on, or if you're just feeling lonely and you just need a distraction or you need a friend, you have a friend in Spaceboy Music. Spaceboymusic.com has a vast catalog of Spaceboy's originally composed digital awesome jams. Go down there to spaceboymusic.com, get you some free MP3s. Don't do anything crazy with them, like, resell them or claim them as your own. If you'd like to use them in a project or something, contact Spaceboy at spaceboyuniverse.com, and he'll cut you a deal. Usually you just have to credit him, but go there, get you something for yourself, pick something up for grandma too. There's chill music, there's crazy music, there's dancing music, there's something for everybody. And there's a few old videos from some of the older music that you did here on YouTube if you look it up on this same channel that you're on right now. But yeah, there's your little free plug from your wife.
I guess, are you expecting me to say thank you?
I'm not going to hold my breath. But anyway, so back to the subject of fear being a great motivator.
Oh, before you start, I just want to throw this out there. I want to welcome Christopher to the chat there. Space Cadets, he's good people. Take good care of him. I think he'll make a great addition to our crew here and team that listens to Spaceboy Universe. So.
Yeah, it's always great to see somebody new and different. Not that we don't appreciate K28, Beverly, and Bob. They're old school. They'll, we know they'll be there. So, so we're talking about fear as a great motivator. Fear of a beer bug. Fear of being oppressed or abused or something like that.
I think the thing is that fear it gets amplified as you get older. Because there are things that are out of your control. You try to keep everything in a certain box, but as you get older, it's more difficult to keep those things under control. And so fear is definitely, something that we worry as we get older.
And lack of having valid, informed, or educated information. We can no longer trust mainstream media as an authoritative figure to get news. It's slanted. It's not that it hasn't always been, but it is really obviously apparent, and I'm talking both sides. I'm not saying it's this news media out or just this one. It's all of them. They all kind of have their own agenda in one way or another. So who do you trust? I don't know. You're going to have to go look at all of them, read or listen to all of them, come to your own conclusions, and then keep them to yourself. That's what I would ask that you do.
I think that in the search of truth, you have to boil it down in a crucible and hope that what's left is the undeniable
But people
truth.
don't know how to do that. That's the problem.
I think
but I can't tell you how to do that.
The problem is that people get their emotions the best of them. And
that is exactly true.
And so it
like
goes,
being afraid of something.
Which goes back to that control aspect in our lives. We control certain aspects of our lives so that we can function.
Right. So in that vein of fear, and things have changed. Like, again, some things have changed that are fine, that will have no effect on our daily lives. We can keep going. And a lot of that is in the area of entertainment, for instance. But I do think there's a little bit of a fear factor there for those people that work in that industry, because let's say the concept of the late night talk show has been around since the 50s or 60s, when it was in black and white. Yeah, with a Steve Allen, late night with Steve Allen. So that format is pretty much probably going to die completely, and it needed to go. It really did need to go. It was not funny. It was not entertaining. It was barely informative, if at all. A lot of them had to start adjusting anyway as soon as social media became a distraction, and almost more of a distraction than their show.
In all fairness, Carson was a thing, a big thing back in his day. I mean,
he was. He was the only thing.
People waited after the news to go to bed and watch Carson, and you know, his was the thing to do at that time. And
then so people went around and dug up something Jimmy Fallon did 20 years ago on SNL, and I'm not going to say what it was. If you want to know, go look it up. It's dumb, it's stupid, but the thing was, he did it on Saturday Night Live. That means somebody approved the sketch, some people wrote it, it got on air, and the director and producers all said, yeah, let's do it. So don't go after just Fallon, go after everybody. Why are you just picking on him? Although, I did see one other YouTube channel that said, Fallon apologizes finally for being a comedian.
Yeah, I did see that too.
I was like, awesome.
Well, speaking of YouTube, it's something you keep talking to me about is some good news, and can you talk about it?
I'm getting to that. Yeah. So you've got this format that is flawed. It's got problems, but it is the king. It is the GOAT of social media. It is the go-to platform for
Speaking
video.
of goats, I miss our goat.
He's got a sore throat. He's off for the night. But with that being said, you've got this platform that people have been on, just real regular people like you and I, not us specifically, but just people. I forget how long YouTube's been on, like 2007 or something like that.
Could be, yeah.
And they know how to work it. They know how to do it. And these late night shows have been forced to move 100% over to this platform, and they don't know what they're doing because they only know their format, and they don't know how to be alone and talk to no one like established YouTubers do. Mm-hmm. And I watched Film Theory, and he went through all of the major ones, and he says the only one that seems to be kicking it is Trevor Noah, who I barely know, and I don't watch any of them because we don't have regular TV, we don't have cable TV. Sure, they're all online, but I'm not going to watch them. They're not funny. They're irrelevant to me. And that's another thing about fear. I think they're afraid of being irrelevant. Oh, Bob, you are so right, Bob. Craig Ferguson was the last funniest late night show host, and the reason he was is because he knew it was bullcrap when he was doing it, and he saw all that, and he's like, well, I just might as well just get a robot co-host, and he did, and it turned out to be freaking amazing, because the guy who voiced the robot was actually a comedic genius. But
tell me how you really feel about the show.
But he got out of it before, I guess, he lost his mind and his soul, and he was smart, and his replacement is awful, just so awful, but very cringy. So that aspect of entertainment's going. We might be losing the concept of going to a movie theater, which I personally won't miss that much. But well, the nice thing about YouTube is people have uploaded clips from when Craig Ferguson was host, so you can still go relive those days. And I do go back and look at them. They're hysterical. But Craig's still out there doing stand-up, and he's still doing stuff.
He does the occasional show.
He writes books.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. So
he is gone but not forgotten.
There is a video of him in a airport waiting area with Josh Robert Thompson, who did the voice, did all the voices. He did Jeff the Robot. And they were doing a little skit, and somebody was filming it while they were sitting there waiting for a plane. And he made Craig cry because he was laughing so hard. And that's like, boy, you missed that, but you would hate for them to be stuck in that format. So while we're in lockdown and they're trying desperately to be relevant and funny and failing, along comes John Krasinski, who played, what was his name?
He played Jim on The Office.
Jim on The Office, the American version of the TV show The Office. And he's married to Emily Blunt, who is an English actress. And I guess they have some kids. So he decides to go make a YouTube channel. He gets his kids to draw him some, title cards. And he has this channel, or he did have this channel called Some Good News. And it was all positive, uplifting things about the lockdown and what people were doing to adapt to being at home. Kids missing their prom and their graduation. And he would have big cast reunions of The Office and some other shows. And he would have different one or two people on that that would do conference chat, video chat with him. And it was all feel good stuff, and it wasn't Hollywood bullcrap. It was all very positive, uplifting, mostly just random people sending their videos in. He had one where he had people send in their best recipe of them cooking a how-to. Somebody would say, here's my recipe for meatloaf, and they would show how to cook it and all the steps and the measurements. And then John would go get famous chefs to cook that same recipe and it was so cool. Now CBS has stepped in, bought the show. John's not going to be the host anymore, and it's going to be on CBS now, or go, or pay for it, or else you can't see it. And I suppose they're going to Hollywood it up and mess it up. Anytime you get a corporate entity involved, it usually just messes it up. So they took a nice, sweet, uplifting thing, and they're going to ruin it. That's my take. I don't know that's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to.
They're going to commercialize it.
They're going to commercialize it, and it's going to be, I bet it's going to be crappy. So you find a way to deal with something, and then somebody takes it away from you. But again, maybe this is, this platform we're on probably does take away a lot of viewership from other things, perhaps. That was another thing Film Theory went over. He went over each late night talk show's numbers before, during, and right now lockdown. And not only did most of them not gain new viewers during lockdown, they lost some, except for Trevor Noah, because Noah knew, or somebody who's working on that show understood the platform they're on and how to work it. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but yeah, we were laughing at that too, Christopher. The end of the beginning, the 20th album
Actually,
from Spaceboy.
The 2020 album is the one with the girl on it that has the mask in her hand, and yeah.
But yeah, so there's a whole lot of weirdness with social media. There's a lot of censorship going on where if they don't like what you have to say, they're like, well, let's fact check this. Well, who are you fact checking it with? Who's the authority? And then there was that slip up by, who it says, truth over facts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Joe Biden.
Freudian slip there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying facts and truth are not the same thing. He didn't realize what he was saying.
No.
He was just repeating what they told him in his earpiece, most likely. So, speaking of irrelevant, there were some companies that were already in trouble way before this crisis went in. They had already gone, just about to declare bankruptcy. Then this happened, and I'm like, this has killed some big businesses. For instance, like Macy's, JCPenney's. Here in Houston, we have some very long established institutions and restaurants that just could not survive 3 months of being locked down. Whether, I don't guess they were, the delivery couldn't sustain them, carry out couldn't sustain them.
In all fairness, JCPenney's and Sears are kind of connected at the hip because
they're owned by the same entity.
Yes.
But, well, they did it to themselves. They shot themselves in the foot by not changing with the times.
Mm-hmm.
And JCPenney's overpriced themselves out of existence. I can tell you that. By marking up their clothing and then showing you these awesome discounts. Like, well, just give us the discount price so we don't have to go through this
song and dance.
Yeah, we don't have to go through this, mental, adjustments, like where we're getting a good bargain. We know this cost $5 to make in a sweatshop. So
So, Solana, are you saying you buy your clothes from a sweatshop?
I don't know where they come from. It's hard to even buy clothes. So some small businesses are not going to survive this.
No. We've already seen some restaurants here in Houston that they're closing their place for good, and they were good restaurants. It just because of the way things have gone down,
they just couldn't make it for one reason or another.
For one reason or another.
Maybe they couldn't have the staff come in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just weren't getting enough, orders, or they just couldn't cover the cost of utilities to match up. There's a whole lot of factors there, but
right.
But brick and mortar stores and restaurants, some of them are not going to make it. Some of them were in trouble before. This will absolutely kill them. Another thing that that may not survive, it's very iffy. I'm just wondering, this is me speculating, I don't know. But there were a lot of malls that were already like on the brink. And I think this may kill the concept of the mall, depending on how badly people want to get back out and shop, but how badly they want to stay away from others. Like, they want out, but they don't want you near them, which is my perfect world, really. There's no reason for you to be within 6 feet of me at any moment. Even if I'm dying, if you're not a professional, stay away from me.
Professional what?
Medical professional.
Oh, okay.
Do not come near me. But I just...
Well, I'm kind of saddened because, I like getting hugs. And now I'm in a world where no one can get within 6 feet of yourself.
So the last thing, so it's all starting to get to me a little bit. Like I said, nothing has happened close to home as far as chaos. I don't want to get too into this, but someone who is related to me by blood tested positive. I have not seen this person in 4 or 5 years, and it has really screwed me up. But they tested positive twice, and they just tested negative. The whole time, this person never was sick, never had symptoms, never knew they had it, and they're still fine. It's just a freaking miracle. So it's weird that we've got the situation with something we're afraid of, and you don't understand it unless you get it or somebody close to you has it and they can talk about it. So that proves you can be a carrier and not a victim is the word, a patient, But the last, so I've been kind of anxious / depressed, and I don't know why. I guess I've always been depressed because everything just seems so futile and pointless. But the last thing I think we should be afraid of are primates. This is the thing I was waiting to tell you. And I should not laugh. I swear, I apologize. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. And plus, I'm not 100% sure it's real. This could just be fake news. I don't know, but it is freaking everywhere, this story.
About the monkeys that
Yes.
stole the...
Yes, let me read something to you in case you don't know. Monkeys on the loose in India with stolen beer bug blood samples. And I did that on purpose to get around keyword
Yes.
search. So a troop of monkeys attacked a lab technician in India, supposedly, allegedly. Let's just put it that way just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if these monkeys were trained or they are a lot more intelligent than we're giving credit for, but they stole the blood samples. How they knew to do this, I don't know. See, you see the holes in the story already?
Well, I don't find that hard to believe because we've seen videos of where people go on these tourist traps.
Yeah, well, they probably think they're
and they
food.
steal bags. They
don't know what it is. They just you
hey,
got something, I want it.
Right.
So these were blood samples of patients that tested positive for you know what.
Mm-hmm.
It happened this week, and let me see the date on this. The date is 5/29/20. So this happened sometime this week. They grabbed...
One might say yesterday.
Well, that's when this was posted. I don't know when this actually happened. It was confirmed yesterday. So, attack happened this week to a lab technician. He was just trying to do his run-of-the-mill stuff in a medical college in the capital of Uttar Pradesh state in India.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, monkeys grabbed and fled with blood samples of 4 positive patients who are undergoing treatment, and we had to take their blood samples, because they have to test them, see if it's working, right? The cops said it's not clear if the monkeys spilled any of the samples, and they feared for spreading the bug if those monkeys came near people or urban areas. It's not known if these primates could contract the bug if they came in contact with the samples. There's no evidence has been found that these animals can contract the infection. And it talks about statistics of how it's spread to global, how many people have got it. And India's got 170,000 cases, over 4,000 fatalities. They're monitoring increased monkey attacks and disturbances of these animals attacking people, and they are attributing the uptick of this as a result of the destruction of their natural habitats, forcing animals to move closer to urban areas. So I don't trust those little suckers, even when there's nothing weird going on. They're the geese of primates.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I need to get on meds too. I was on meds for anxiety, but they expired.
There you go.
They're macaque monkeys, so look up macaques.
I don't have my. Well, actually, here we go. That's what I have the sound for, macaque monkeys.
Well, that sounded like paper being ripped. All right. Now, one site I looked at, I was reading from a website there, but there's YouTube channels that are covering this, and the YouTube channels that are covering this are not authoritative figure. They're just random people with channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell you what the validity of this is. Just, hey, go look it up, see who says what. And I'm laughing. The reason I'm laughing is it sounds like the plot to one of the Planet of the Apes movies. Sorry for laughing. Now, gotta quit laughing.
Before you get all giggly, I just wanted to backtrack for a second. I mean, these monkeys stealing the samples that's a pretty serious thing.
Yeah, but they don't know what they've got. They're just grabbing stuff.
It reminds me of the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, and apparently it all starts from a monkey that gets a contagion. So I could see some kind of scenario like this happening with these monkeys, where they get the bear bug virus. And
they don't know what they're doing. They're opportunists, right? Mm-hmm. They see something like, I wonder if that's food. Let me grab it. Now, I saw a video, and who knows when this video was actually taken. Who knows what this primate is doing. It could be completely unrelated to the story. A primate in the tree with something like ripped paper or tissue, and then it fell to the ground, and he had something else in his hand. But you know how the media is. That could be completely unrelated. That could just be a wild animal that got a hold of somebody's laundry or something. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You can't trust anybody, right? So, that story is freaking everywhere. It is everywhere. So, maybe, if you check it out, Now, another situation that's arose from what's happened in Atlanta and Minneapolis, you and I watched this other channel that kind of is a watchdog for other YouTube channels and social media and internet happenings and pop culture. We have several of them. We have this one we go to. He did sort of like an ironic parody of an apology or like something like this. Basically, he was making fun of, and I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to say any names at all. But there are certain YouTubers out there who have like millions of subscribers, or they're just very big channels, who have come out within the last day or two, basically saying like, this bad thing happened, and I just want you all to know, I know that it's bad, and I won't stand for it, and I am not in favor of it. Like, they're trying to get ahead of any future accusations. Like, if they don't address it, they're going to get accused of something. So they're trying to get out in front of the wave of insanity and say, hey, this bad thing happened. It's bad. I don't like it, just so you know.
Well, here's a Spaceboy take on it, okay? Mind if I take a second here?
Oh, sure. Please talk more.
One, yes, what happened to that poor man is a bad thing, and the officer has been arrested, and we should let justice run through the courts and have him get what's coming to him. But what's also, I think, is equally bad is these looters that are destroying basically their neighborhood. I mean, you got like that, for example, that Target. It employed people. Now people that work there don't have a job because all these people tore it down in a fit that, just because they were trying to lash out at the issue that happened. And I think that's wrong.
But I don't want to get into the C word, conspiracy.
Cucumbers?
You know what I'm saying? Because YouTube will the AI will definitely get us for this. It being a theory. I heard on another YouTube channel that's growing and increasing in popularity that you and I both look at, that this guy said, isn't it interesting that when some of these locations that have the rioters, there's a stack of neatly stacked bricks. Just there waiting to happen, and there's no construction around.
I want to go ahead and say this guy's name, Tim Pool. I'm sure a lot of our audience knows Tim Pool.
We watch him.
And we watch him I think he's pretty fair and balanced. He leans more left, but he's not so far gone he can't see. At least he uses some common sense based on what's out there, and so I can appreciate Tim Pool, and he's very relevant right now in the sense of what has happened with Twitter and the president, with this fact-checking thing that's gone on, and it might lead down to a situation where now that Twitter has started to do this, it opens them up for lawsuits, being an editor versus a place where people can freely come and talk about ideas, and that's not been the case.
Right.
Anyway, that's my Tim Pool thing. So.
Yeah. So he was saying there are people. I typed Illuminati confirmed in chat, but I'm not saying there's a dark society. It could be one political party behind it. Like, make sure these people have the tools they need to screw things up, because we could come in and be the savior while Rome burns.
Rome is burning.
Right? So I wasn't trying to be flippant there,
No,
but
I don't think our audience thinks that. I mean, we just try to present what's on our mind.
Well, in this era of cancel culture, who knows?
I understand.
It doesn't take much. And if they want to cancel me, I am so fine with it. I'm so old and over all this. If you want me gone, I'll go. Leave me.
I will not go gentle into that good night.
Right.
I will rage against the oppression.
Rage against the dying of the light.
Yes.
Don't get in a quote battle with an English major, honey.
Whatever. Why don't you put your book down and get a dictionary and all that good stuff? And
you're gonna come talking smack about spelling?
Hey,
and dictionaries?
kids, look at the time, man. The time just goes by so fast, and we've completed.
Well, isn't that convenient?
We've completed another wonderful episode of Spaceboy Universe Light, and as we get more time back on our belts, hopefully we'll have more time to dedicate to our wonderful Space Cadet audience. Just want to say thanks, Christopher, for showing up for the show. Definitely Bev, Bob, always a treat to have you guys. K28, if I don't say your name, I'm sure you'd get upset, even though your name is in the credits. But on that magical note, we will see you next Saturday, where you'll hear Surlana berate me about something I've said, so we'll go from there. We love you guys. Don't change.
Hey, you've made it to the Spaceboy Universe YouTube channel. Well, while you're here, why don't you click that subscribe button and then click the bell to get notified when new content is available. It's that simple. So it's your duty as a space cadet to do so.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K, K28, Dino, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Sporer, Bob and Beverly N. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Surlana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.